So you're starting your job. Are you like flooded with emotions, mixed emotions, excited, nervous, worried? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? How are you going to prepare for this? I'm hoping that today, this video, will be something that's helpful. Keep watching. First of all, congratulations on your new job. Whether you're starting a new career, this is your first maybe position as a school psychologist, your first professional career working in biomedical engineering. The idea here is congratulations, you started it. For others, you may be transitioning to a new role. Maybe it's more of a director level. Maybe you're taking a leadership position. Maybe you're changing your location. For example, if you're a school psychologist, you might be starting in a different district or going to a new school. Or you might be transitioning to academia. The idea here is that you have something new on the horizon and you feel like this is an opportunity maybe to do things a little bit different, maybe a little bit better, but you probably have mixed emotions, and I'd love to be able to talk about some of those. I'm going to talk about more the internal pieces first and then kind of go into some of the external pieces that maybe you can control and be able to help plan for. This is not going to be everything, but I think that some of this might start your thinking and create and foster the breeding ground to be able to feel more comfortable and secure, and to maybe have an idea of where you want to allocate your attention, focus, and planning. Why are you in this position? How'd you get there? And what are you going to be doing? I'm going to direct you also back to, I have a video that I put out for the why, how, and the what of being a school psychologist. I think you can take any of that whole framework that we talked about from the Golden Circle for Simon Sinek's framework to think about why we're in a position. I think that's really critical to do whatever field that you're in. If you transition to a new position, if you're brand new to this career pathway, go ahead and look at that video and get your idea of why you're doing what you're doing and what you need to be able to be doing to be able to get to your purpose and your goals for why you're making this change and transition or embarking on this new career. To follow up and build off of that now, one of the first things if you're in a new career, or maybe just a reminder if you're transitioning to a new context for your job or a new role, is think about your active listening. How do you listen and listen to learn? And the reason I'm putting this out there, especially if this is you've already worked in the field for a long time and you're just transitioning to position, is that you're going to be learning some new things and you want to be able to be primed to be able to be taking in the information and to be able to be learning, and you're going to feel swamped. And I also want to, because there's so many new things you're going to be learning, and that's okay. You don't want it to make you feel overwhelmed. Everything from the copy number for the copy code, to how you record your time, to where you get certain materials, to your basic jobs and goals and responsibilities, to your professional development plan. It is going to be a lot of things that are going to be new that are hitting you, and it's going to be that much more important to be able to be really present in each moment and listen to learn, and ask questions. Never worry about asking questions. And I know I'm talking to some seasoned professionals here, but the idea is here just as a reminder, ask questions. My next little piece, and this is very relevant for schools and school psych and education agencies, but I also see it very applicable outside that domain in the business world, is you might be going in with great thoughts, great ideas, ways to be able to structure things up, especially if you're going into a position that kind of collapsed and crumbled down under previous maybe leadership or the previous person who was there, or neglect of that position, or it's a brand new position. The idea here is don't go in and change right away. Go in, listen to learn, absorb, and then think about the infrastructure that would need to be in place, the systems that would need to be in place to be able to achieve maybe some of the gaps or the deficits, or to capitalize on some of the areas of strength that you see in the organization. Slowly. The worst thing is to go out there and try and change things but not have the systems or infrastructure and supports to be able to make that happen and stick, or have it overtaxing people. You really want to be able to learn the system, the context, everything that's on the plate of everyone, because if we listen to George Tagai, he tells us that for everything you put on the plate of of someone else, you have to take 2 to 3 things off. Keep that in mind. You're going to be making changes or improvements to get at some goal, but we can't just layer on top, because I guarantee you it will not sustain. Another big piece is, and I talked about this with the listening, but keep learning. You may be now the highly experienced person walking into this new role. You, as a new school psychologist entering the field, you are a highly experienced person with a great knowledge-based experience in the knowledge walking into a school. Remember that your voice is a voice on the table, not the only voice. And it's very important to always be that lifelong learner. I know for many of us who've seasoned in the field for a while, it might be a very humbling thing to be thinking that we still have to keep learning, but we do. We should. We don't want to be stable and status quo. We want to be continuing to improve and get better and learn from what we're doing, because what worked someplace might not always work someplace else. It might not always keep working given different contexts that changes. The other piece for newly career people walking into a new role right out of grad school, perhaps, it's okay to be able to walk into that and being like, I'm learning. I'm learning just like everyone else. And maybe that helps you feel a little bit better to know that even seasoned, experienced people in the field still have to have that quest for ongoing knowledge, learning, and improvement. As you're also working through your new position, this is a good time, if you're a seasoned professional or if you're a new early career individual, to think about your ethical practices. I know that seems like, well, of course we would, but truly think about your ethics. How do you practice them? How might they have some challenges to them? And what does that mean to you in your role? So really think about your mission and your vision for your why, your how are you going to do this, and your what. Okay? Think about your ethical obligations. They have to be riding first and forefront. As we talk about the idea of always learning, this is a good time now to step back and look at the skills that you currently have in your little repertoire, your toolkit. What are they? Where are your strengths? Where are the areas that you want to maybe start building up, fleshing out a little bit? And I am very much in the forefront that just because you may not have a lot of skills in one area does not mean that you have to focus on getting those built up there. Sometimes you want to really just keep improving and strengthening those areas that are very well advanced and your strengths, because they are your strengths. We don't want to sacrifice getting those to be able to be richer and more robust because you're building off another area that there may be someone else who equally contributes just as much to that area. So think from the big picture. Go back to your vision and mission for why you're in the field. Now, as you're doing that current inventory of your skills, also have a forward front thinking plan. Where do you also want to be, and not to sound corny, but in 5 years and in 10 years? Do you have an idea of a pathway to get there? This might change, but sometimes it's nice to be able to have that foresight, to be able to think ahead. Where would this lead me to? Because a lot of times we do have to layer those experiences to be able to get to those endpoints. And as we are layering on those experiences, we're probably going to learn a lot more about ourselves as well, too. And for those of you who are school psychologists, I would also suggest this is a good time to be able to go look at the NAS practice model. Go and look at across those domains, across those skill sets. I'm going to be also uploading a walk through all those domains that also looks at the areas and the behaviors for those to be able to help you plan an action plan, what you need to be able to do or want to do to be able to continue to refine those skills. As you're going through here, it's really important, again, going back to that why. What drew you to this field in this career pathway? If you keep that first and forefront, any times that you start getting down, start feeling, questioning your paths, questioning your decisions, it's going to be tougher to sometimes make it through those challenging times. If you really clearly identify why you want to be here, what drew you to this field, you're always going to have that North Star and that compass to help you through challenging times that we all have. I would also highly recommend that you make that action plan for you about what you think you want to do over the next 6 months, the next year, the next 5 years. Having that written down of what you want to be able to do, by when, what resources you need, and how you're going to monitor your progress toward these is going to help you be actionable and will give you the opportunity and the freedom and the space to be able to really think about those actionable steps that you need to be able to get toward those goals and how those goals are linked to your why. Another big piece here is start building your systems for efficiency and effectiveness. I'm talking about those if you're a school psychologist and you're writing reports because you're doing assessments or you're reviewing data or you're writing mini handouts. The idea here is, how do you do that in an efficient manner? Whether it's because you do sort of like a mail merge or find and replace, you have templates. Get that perfected continually to improve it and review it and monitor it. Step outside your comfort zone. I mean that for everyone, myself included. When you are stepping outside your comfort zone, though, please seek supervision and support to help make sure that you're doing it in the most effective and efficient way, that you're refining your skills. You're not just kind of doing something over and over again and expecting different results. We know where that ends up. But the idea is step outside your comfort zone, but make sure that you have some supports and some systems to be able to help make sure that you're doing that in a very thoughtful and purposeful manner and you're getting to your outcomes. But push yourself. Learn something new. Try to do something a little bit differently. And monitor and see how it went. Plan, do, study, act. And for those of you who may be newer to the field and you know you're going to have presentations, you're going to have meetings, you're going to be having to talk to broader audiences, I'm going to say a couple things. Practice, 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 and practice. Role play. The idea here is don't just try and wing it. It does not work well. Practice. Think it through. It doesn't always mean that you're standing up, you're sitting down and talking out loud, but in your mind, think about it, map it out, rehearse it if you want. That actually is a really key piece. Try and practice and rehearse with others. Role play. Have someone push on you, ask you difficult questions, make a meeting difficult and challenging. How do you respond? How can you get feedback? Ask that individual to look for maybe common terms that you say, how you might seem defensive, how you're not maybe showing that you're actively listening. Have an idea of things that you want someone to be able to help you perfect as you move into these roles. But practice, practice, practice role play. Really critical, because then you'll look at your confidence, you're going to increase your competence, and you're just going to feel so much more confident and prepared. The last piece here, and this is something I'm working on a lot, is the work-life balance. Think about how you're going to do that. As you're starting in a new role, a new career, whatever your transition is, it's going to mean that you're going to be learning a lot new. You're going to feel swamped. You're going to feel like you need to maybe dedicate a little extra time than you maybe typically would to be able to feel like you're up and running. If you're going to be doing that, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, be really explicit and say, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to let myself work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 2 hours in the evening to organize my cases, to organize and learn new processes and procedures, to review this protocol. The idea here is be very careful and explicit that you're doing that and the reason for it and the function of that time. So you just don't start then working. It's purposeful to get you feeling caught up. And I say caught up because you're new. No one's expecting you to go running outside the door with this and taking off. And the idea here is you're usually given breathing room. But if that makes you feel a little bit better and more confident, then do it. But be very explicit and have boundaries for when you will stop and transition that and the reason why you're doing that. And communicate that with others who are outside your work as well too. Importantly, if you are doing that at home and you start then emailing people off hours, just think about the precedence of that starting. Be very careful about that. I have done that, been that, and that is not the right thing to do. You just kind of forget. Again, be very explicit, purposeful, why you're doing that, and if it's going to truly help you to get over that initial hump, or are you just setting up bad habits? Again, evaluate and monitor. Plan, do, study, act. Always improve, always learn, ask questions, and stretch yourself. Now, this was just a splattering of things that you can think about as you transition to a new job. It's always an exciting time, and I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you're more excited now than you were nervous, that if any imposter syndrome hits you, you're able to hit it face on and navigate quickly through it. Again, it's normal. Don't worry if it does. But the idea is that you are able to move forward and seize and capture and ride on the excitement of this new position, new job, and this transition in your life. And I wish you all the best of luck. I'd love to be able to hear how things are going. Other thoughts, comments, ideas, subscribe, hit the like button, but really, really, really add thoughts, comments, feedback, ideas, things that you want to learn here, everything down below in the comments. I'm so excited to be able to learn more from you. I'll have a lot of links down below for other videos, other pieces. Until next time.